When my husband transferred 50 million as a breakup fee, I was in the kitchen making soup for him. Jiang, let's get a divorce. Sage Sun leaned against the kitchen doorway, holding the phone he never parted with, his expression as cold as a stranger's. This is compensation. I glanced at the transfer notification on my phone, 50 million, with a note that read, breakup fee. In my past life, I would have cried, knelt down to beg him, and asked if I had done something wrong. But not in this lifetime. I turned off the stove and turned to face the man who had shared my bed for 3 years. 50 million. I wiped my hands. President Song is truly generous. Sage Sun froze for a moment, seemingly not expecting me to remain so calm. Jiang, what about me? I smiled. Should I be overwhelmed with gratitude, or should I beg you tearfully not to leave? His expression looked somewhat unnatural. I thought you would. Would what? Would cling to you like a resentful wife. I shook my head. Sage Sun, you think too highly of yourself. In my past life, I was indeed like that. After discovering his infidelity, I went mad trying to salvage the marriage. I cooked his favorite dishes, wore clothes he liked, and even humbled myself to beg the other woman to leave. What was the result? They teamed up to scheme against me, making me humiliate myself in front of everyone at the company's annual meeting, and in the end, I was left with nothing. To survive, I had to deliver takeout, and ultimately died in a car accident. Only after death did I realize they had planned everything from the start, including these 50 million. Since President Song is being so straightforward, I won't be coy either. I took the phone and looked at the transfer record. But isn't 50 million a bit too little? Sage Sun frowned. Jiang, don't be too greedy. 50 million is enough for you to spend a lifetime, is that so? I pretended to ponder, but I feel it's still not enough. What do you mean? I put down my phone and walked up to him. President Song, we've been married for 3 years. How much do you think my 3 years of youth are worth? Jiang, stop fooling around. His tone grew impatient. 5 million is already a lot. As a small employee earning 8,000 a month, you could never make that much money in your lifetime. Hearing this, my anger flared up completely. In my past life, he had said the same thing, measuring my worth with money as if I were just a pet he kept. What if I refuse? Sage Sun's face darkened completely. Jiang, don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. I'm offering to divorce you to save your dignity. If you make a scene, it won't do you any good. Threatening me. I sneered. Then go ahead and try. He gave me a deep look, then turned and left. At the doorway, he paused. Jiang, I hope you think carefully. Some things, once started, have no turning back. After he left, I collapsed onto the floor, not out of fear, but excitement, because just moments ago, a voice appeared in my mind. Truth system activated. Host can view the target person's true thoughts and action plans for the next 7 days. Current available uses, 3 times. I immediately focused my mind and silently recited Sage Sun's name in my heart. The next second, a series of information appeared in my mind. Target, Sage Sun, true thoughts. That foolish woman Jiang has finally come to her senses. 5 million is more than enough to get rid of her. Once she signs the divorce papers, I can openly be with Tess. 7-day action plan. Day 1. Contact the lawyer to prepare the divorce agreement. Take Tess by to view wedding houses in the evening. Day 2. Introduce Tess by to parents. Day 3. Accompany Tess by to the prenatal checkup. Day 4. Attend a business cocktail party. Prepare to go public with the relationship. The words prenatal checkup left me completely stunned. Is Tess by pregnant? No wonder Sage Sun was in such a hurry to get a divorce. In my past life, I never knew about this until the day I died, thinking it was just a simple affair. Now that I think about it, they must have planned everything long ago. Very well, in this lifetime, I'll make sure all their plans come to nothing. I stood up, took out my phone, and called my best friend Yixin. Yixin, I need a favor. What is it? Can you check if Tess Bai has been to the hospital recently? Yixin is a lawyer with extensive connections, so checking this wouldn't be difficult for her. Tess Bai, your husband's secretary. Yixin's voice immediately tensed up. Ray, is something wrong? It's a minor issue. Help me check first. And I'll tell you once you find out. After hanging up the phone, I started packing my things. Since Sage Sun wants to play, I'll play along to his heart's content, but this time, I'll be the one setting the rules of the game. Half an hour later, Yixin's call came. Ray, I found out, Tess Bai went to the gynecology department 3 days ago for a pregnancy checkup, just as I thought, and, Yixin's voice dropped even lower. I also discovered that she and Sage Sun opened a joint account 6 months ago with 15 million in it. 15 million. This number makes the fire in my heart burn even fiercer, so they've been transferring assets all along. Just waiting to divide the property after divorcing me. Yixin, do me one more favor. Go ahead, check all the assets under Sage Sun's name for me, including company shares, real estate, investments, everything. Ray, what are you trying to do? I glanced at the 50 million transfer record on my phone and sneered. I want him to learn what a real price means. The next morning, I received the detailed information sent by Yixin. Sage Sun's total assets amounted to 800 million, of which company shares accounted for 600 million, real estate for 150 million, and other investments for 50 million. According to the law, half of our marital property should rightfully belong to me. In other words, I am entitled to 400 million. Does he think he can get rid of me with just 50 million? Dream on. I'm studying these materials when Sage Sun returns, dressed in a sharp suit and full of energy. He looks to be in high spirits. Ray Jiang, have you made up your mind? He sat down on the sofa and pulled out a document. This is the divorce agreement. Take a look. I took the agreement and skimmed through it quickly. Sure enough, it stated that I would only receive 50 million, while all other assets would go to him. Sage Sun, there's an issue with this agreement. I placed the document on the coffee table. According to marriage law, I'm entitled to half of the marital assets. He froze for a moment. Ray Jiang, what are you talking about? I had the company before we got married. Those don't count as marital assets. Is that so? I smiled. What about the increased value of the company after marriage? Your company has doubled in size over these 3 years. Do I have a share in that appreciation? Sage Sun's expression began to change. Ray Jiang, don't push your luck, push my luck. I stood up and walked over to him. Sage Sun, you're the one who wants a divorce, not me. If you want to get rid of me, you'll have to pay the price. How much do you want? He asked through gritted teeth. According to the law, 400 million, impossible. Sage Sun stood up abruptly. Ray Jiang, are you out of your mind? 400 million. Who do you think you are? I am your wife. I said calmly, or rather, the wife you're about to abandon. He walked to the window and stood with his back to me for a long time. I knew what he was thinking because the system gave me another hint. Sage Sun's current thoughts. How did this woman suddenly become so smart? No way. I absolutely can't give her 400 million. I need to find a way to make her voluntarily give up the property division. Want me to give up voluntarily? Dream on, Ray Jiang. He turned around, his face regaining its gentle expression. Let's part on good terms. Why make it so ugly? Yes, part on good terms. I nodded. Then give me what's owed to me, and we'll part on good terms. I can't come up with 400 million. The company can't be touched. Let's proceed according to legal procedures then. I picked up my phone. I'll call the lawyer right now. Wait. He hurriedly stopped me. Ray Jiang, are you really going to escalate this matter? It's not me who wants to escalate it. It's you who's offering too little. Sage Sun paced back and forth in the living room, clearly agitated. I know what he's worried about. If we go through legal proceedings, his affair with Tess Bai is likely to be exposed. Not only would he have to divide the assets, but his reputation would also be damaged. 100 million, he suddenly said. At most 100 million. That's already my bottom line. 100 million. I pretended to think for a moment. 200 million. Not a penny less. Ray Jiang, Sage Sun, stop pretending, I said as I sat back on the sofa, crossing my legs. I know about you and Tess Bai. His face instantly turned pale. What are you talking about? I said. I know you cheated, I replied leisurely, and I also know she's pregnant. The living room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Sage Sun stared at me blankly, as if he didn't recognize me. Ray Jiang, how did you know? Does it matter? I shrugged. What's important is that now I know. He sat down in front of me, his tone turning low. What do you want? I made it very clear just now, 200 million. And if I refuse, I smiled, then I'll tell everyone about you and Tess Bai. I'll tell your clients, your business partners, and your parents. You dare? You think I don't dare? I took out my phone and scrolled to a number. How about I call the reporter from Metropolis Evening News right now? They're most interested in scandalous news about infidelity in wealthy families. Sage Sun's forehead began to sweat. I knew what he was afraid of. His company mainly deals in high-end real estate, and his clients are all people of status. If news of his infidelity got out, it would have a significant impact on his business. Ray Jiang, we can discuss this. His tone softened. Don't act impulsively. Then 200 million, and we part on good terms. He remained silent for a long time before finally nodding. Fine, 200 million it is, but you must promise me that after the divorce, this matter will never be brought up again. Deal. I extended my hand. The agreement will be rewritten, and we'll sign it tomorrow. He shook my hand, forcing a stiff smile on his face, but he didn't know I had no intention of letting him off so easily. 200 million was just the beginning. The real show is yet to come. That night, I used the system to check Sage Sun's action plan. Tonight's plan: go to Tess Bai's apartment to discuss strategies for dealing with Ray Jiang. Tomorrow's plan: take Tess Bai to meet the parents, preparing to introduce her as his girlfriend. It seems he's ready to go public with Tess Bai. Then I should prepare some small gifts for them too. I took out my phone and sent a message to a private investigator. Help me track someone. I need records of all their movements. It's only fair to return the favor. Since Sage Sun gave me such a surprise, I should give him an even bigger one in return. The next morning, I waited at the cafe to sign the divorce papers. Sage Sun arrived right on time, but he didn't look well. There were noticeable dark circles under his eyes. Didn't sleep well? I asked with concern. He glared at me and placed the revised divorce agreement on the table. Take a look. 200 million, not a penny less. I carefully reviewed the agreement. The terms were simple. I would receive 200 million in cash, relinquish all other property division claims, and neither party could raise any further disputes regarding assets. No problem. I picked up the pen and signed the agreement. Sage Sun visibly relaxed when he saw me sign. He also signed the agreement and then put away his copy. Ray Jiang, I hope you keep your word. Of course, I'm the most trustworthy person, I said with a smile. By the way, when will the transfer be made? It should be processed this afternoon. I nodded and stood up to leave. Ray Jiang, he suddenly called out to me, even though we're divorced, I still hope you can live well. I turned back to look at him. This man was still pretending to be sentimental. Thank you for your blessing, I smiled. I also hope you and Tess Bai can live well. His face instantly changed color. I ignored him and left the cafe directly. Just as I stepped outside, my phone rang. It was a photo sent by the private detective. In the photo, Sage Sun is embracing a long-haired woman outside the obstetrics and gynecology department. The woman's profile is clearly visible. It's Tess Bai. The timestamp shows it was yesterday at 3 p.m. In other words, while negotiating with me, he was also accompanying his mistress to her prenatal checkup. What a devoted and faithful man. I carefully stored the photos and then gave Yashin a call. The contract is signed. 200 million is secured. What? Yashin screamed over the phone. Ray, how did you pull this off? Trade secret. I laughed. Help me get ready, I'm going to hold a press conference. Press conference? Yes, I want to tell everyone that Sage Sun and I are getting divorced. Yashin paused for a moment. Ray, are you sure you want to do this? Absolutely sure. I looked at the photo on my phone. It's time for certain things to be made public. At 3 p.m., I received a transfer of 200 million yuan. At the same time, I saw Sage Sun's post on social media, a new beginning in life, grateful to all my friends for their support. The accompanying photo was a picture of him and a woman, only showing their backs, but I could recognize it was Tess Bai, so eager to make it official, then I can't let him down either. I opened Weibo and posted an update, official announcement. Mr. Sage Sun and I have agreed to divorce. Thank you all for your care and blessings over the past 3 years. The reason for the divorce is his infidelity during our marriage, which resulted in the other woman's pregnancy. for the sake of the child, I've chosen to step aside and let them be, wishing them happiness. The accompanying images are those photos taken by the private investigator after posting on Weibo. I shared the same content on my Moments. Within less than 10 minutes, my phone was bombarded with calls and messages. Reporters wanted interviews, friends came to console me, and some strangers showed up to spectate and gossip. The most interesting part was Sage Sun's phone call. He called 8 times in a row, and I didn't answer any of them. I picked up on the 9th call. Jiang, what are you doing? He roared over the phone. I'm just abiding by the agreement, I said innocently. The agreement states I can't trouble you over property issues, but it doesn't say I can't disclose the truth. You're doing this out of revenge. Revenge? I laughed. I'm merely stating the facts. You did cheat. Tess Bai is indeed pregnant. These are all truths. Jiang, take those things down. On what grounds? My tone turned cold. Sage Sun, if you dare to do it, you should dare to bear the consequences. Do you know how much this will affect my company? What does that have to do with me? I retorted. When you were cheating, did you ever consider the impact on me? Silence fell on the other end of the line. After a while, he said in an almost pleading tone, Jiang, I know I've wronged you, but please delete those things. I can give you more money. How much? 10 million. Not enough. 20 million. Still not enough. Then how much do you want? I thought for a moment. 50 million, after all. This is compensation for your reputational damage. What? 50 million, Jiang. Why don't you just go rob a bank? That's exactly what I'm doing, I said righteously. What's wrong with robbing a scumbag like you? Sage Sun was panting heavily on the phone, clearly furious. Think it over, I said. But I'm only giving you today to decide. Tomorrow will be too late. What do you mean? A reporter is interviewing me tomorrow, and I'll reveal all the details then. Including when you started, where you checked in, how many months pregnant Tess Bai is, and how you secretly transferred assets behind my back. Enough, Sage Sun interrupted me. I'll give it to you. 50 million, I'll give it to you. But you must delete everything and can't accept any interviews. Deal. After hanging up the phone, I hummed a cheerful tune in high spirits. With 50 million in hand, added to the previous 200 million, I now have 250 million. But this still isn't enough. I want Sage Sun to know that the price of betrayal is far greater than this. That evening, I received a transfer of 50 million. Meanwhile, online discussions about our divorce gradually died down. As agreed, I deleted those posts, and Sage Sun breathed a sigh of relief. But he didn't know I had already backed up all those photos and chat records. Moreover, the real counterattack has only just begun. I used the system to check Sage Sun's plans for tomorrow. Tomorrow's agenda: attend the annual Real Estate Chamber of Commerce cocktail party, prepare to sign a cooperation agreement with important clients. The annual Real Estate Chamber of Commerce cocktail party. This is a great opportunity. I picked up the phone and called Yi Xin. Yi Xin, will senior partner Mr. Lee from your law firm attend the Real Estate Chamber's cocktail party tomorrow? He probably will. Why do you ask? Get me an invitation. The annual gala of the Real Estate Chamber of Commerce was held at the city's most luxurious 5-star hotel. I wore a black evening gown, with delicate makeup, and walked into the venue in high heels. The entire venue was lavishly decorated, filled with elegantly dressed guests. As business elites discussed deals over clinking glasses, I had just walked in when I saw Sage Sun, dressed in a dark blue suit. He was chatting and laughing with a few middle-aged men, looking full of vigor. Standing beside him was a young and beautiful woman, none other than Tess Bai, wearing a beige maxi dress with no visible baby bump yet. She was smiling and greeting Sage Sun's clients. It seems Sage Sun is already prepared to introduce her as his girlfriend at such occasions. I didn't approach them immediately. Instead, observing from a corner, through the system, I could see Sage Sun's thoughts. Tonight I must secure that project from President Wang, if successful. The company's funding issues will be resolved. Although Jiang is annoying, she deleted those things, so there shouldn't be any more trouble. Mr. Wang's project. I looked around and quickly spotted the Mr. Wang he mentioned. He was a man in his 60s, chatting with someone on the other side of the venue. I walked over. Hello, Mr. Wang, I'm Jiang. I proactively extended my hand to him. Mr. Wang looked me over. Hello, Miss Ray Jiang. Have we met before? No, but I've heard of you. I said with a smile. You're a legend in the real estate industry, and I deeply admire you. Mr. Wang was clearly pleased by the compliment. You flatter me, Miss Ray Jiang. May I ask what you do? I am Sage Sun's ex-wife, I said calmly. Mr. Wang's expression changed instantly. Ex-wife? Yes. We just got divorced yesterday. I sighed. Mr. Wang, could I speak with you privately for a moment? Mr. Wang glanced at Sage Sun not far away and nodded. Of course. We walked out onto the terrace outside the venue. Miss Ray Jiang, is there something you'd like to discuss? President Wang asked. President Wang, I heard you're planning to collaborate with Sage Sun. That's correct. We are considering it. Why do you ask? I took a document out of my bag. Mr. Wang, this is the financial statement of Sage Sun Company. Please take a look. Mr. Wang took the document and examined it carefully. This report was obtained for me by Yi Xin, and it details the recent financial status of Sage Sun Company. After reading it, Mr. Wang's expression turned grim. It says here that his company's debt ratio has already reached 80%. That's right, I nodded, and recently, he's been transferring a large amount of personal assets to avoid debt risks. This is not a lie. According to Yexin's investigation, Sage Sun is indeed transferring assets, including that joint account with Tess Bai. Mr. Wang, I'm telling you this not to seek revenge, but because I don't want to see you suffer losses, I said sincerely. Sage Sun has character flaws. He doesn't even take his marriage seriously, so how could he be responsible to his business partners? Mr. Wang pondered for a moment and said, Miss Ray Jiang, thank you for the heads up. You're welcome. Business is like a battlefield, and everyone should be cautious. After we returned to the venue, President Wang went straight to Sage Sun. From a distance, I saw President Wang exchange a few words with Sage Sun, and then Sage Sun's expression changed. Their conversation ended quickly. President Wang turned and left, leaving Sage Sun standing there alone, his face ashen. Tess Bai quickly walked over to comfort him, but Sage Sun was clearly in a bad mood and turned a deaf ear to her words. I went to the bar to order a glass of champagne and was about to leave when Sage Sun suddenly appeared in front of me. Ray Jiang, did you say something to President Wang? He asked in a hushed voice. Say what? I pretended not to know. I was just chatting over there the whole time. Stop pretending. President Wang just said he won't cooperate with me anymore. It must be your doing. I calmly took a sip of champagne. Sage Sun, do you have a persecution complex? There could be many reasons why someone wouldn't want to work with you. Ray Jiang, what exactly are you trying to do? His eyes burned with anger. Didn't we already agree to divorce? That's right. We are indeed divorced. I nodded. But that doesn't mean I can't attend a business cocktail party. What's wrong? Tess Bai walked over and took Sage Sun's arm. Sage, what were you talking about? I looked at her. This woman was even more beautiful than in the photos. No wonder Sage Sun was so captivated. Nothing much, just catching up. I smiled. You must be Tess Bai, right? Hello, I'm Ray Jiang. Tess Bai clearly recognized me, her smile stiffening slightly. Hello, Miss Jiang. Congratulations. You're about to become a mother soon. I glanced at her belly. How many months along is the baby? Tess Bai's face instantly turned pale, and Sage Sun also tensed up. Ray Jiang, that's enough. Sage Sun threatened in a low voice. I was just showing some concern. I said innocently, after all, you two had the fruit of love so quickly. It's truly enviable. Some people around us noticed the commotion and began looking our way. Sage Sun realized the situation was getting awkward and tried to pull Tess Bai away to leave. Wait, I called out to them. Miss Bai, you dropped your bag. I picked up a small bag from the ground and handed it to Tess Bai. Thank you, she said hurriedly as she took the bag. But she didn't know that during the process of handing over the bag, I had quietly placed a small object inside it, a listening device. I want to hear what they say in private, then I won't disturb you any further. I raised my champagne glass, wishing you happiness. Watching their retreating figures, I secretly felt pleased with myself. Tonight was just the appetizer. The real show is yet to come. After returning home, I turned on the listening device's receiver. The conversation between Sage Sun and Tess Bai came through. Sage, does Ray Jiang know something? Her words just now, she definitely knows about your pregnancy, but probably not the rest. Other things. What other things? Nothing. Don't overthink it, Sage. I can't shake the feeling that her showing up at the party tonight wasn't a coincidence, she did it on purpose. I know, but we're already divorced now, there's nothing she can do to us. But President Wang. I'll handle President Wang's matter, don't worry about it. Hearing this, I turned off the device. It seems Sage Sun still has other undiscovered secrets. Never mind, I have plenty of time to dig slowly. Anyway, the game has just begun. The next morning, while I was at home studying the materials about Sage Sun Company, I suddenly received a text message from an unknown number. MS. Jiang, I'm an employee of Sage Sun. I have important information to share with you. Would it be convenient to meet? I looked at the number, thought for a moment, and replied, okay, where should we meet? Starbucks downtown. I'll be wearing a blue shirt. An hour later, I met this mysterious employee at Starbucks. He was a man in his 30s who looked very nervous. Miss Jiang, my name is Li Ming, the financial manager of President Song's company, he said in a low voice. There's something I need to tell you. What is it? Li Ming looked around to make sure no one was paying attention to us before speaking. President Song has been cooking the books recently. He's been transferring a lot of company assets to overseas accounts. I was shocked but kept my composure. Do you have any evidence? Yes. He took out a USB drive from his bag. This contains all the financial records, including transaction details. I took the USB drive. Why are you telling me this? Li Ming smiled bitterly. Because I know President Song plans to shift the blame onto me. He's been hinting lately that if any issues arise, they should be attributed to my personal actions. So you want to strike first? I just wanted to protect myself, Li Ming said. And I think President Song was wrong to do that. That money should have had your share. I recalled the system's warning. Could Sage Sun have even bigger financial issues? Li Ming, can you tell me exactly how much money was transferred? About 300 million. 300 million. I almost gasped aloud. This meant Sage Sun had actually concealed 300 million in assets. And by law, half of it should rightfully belong to me. MS. Jiang, this money was earned during your marriage, so in principle, you're entitled to half. Li Ming said, what do you want me to do? Call the police, or file a lawsuit? Li Ming said, I can testify. I thought it over carefully. If I followed Li Ming's suggestion, I could indeed recover more money, but it would also expose all the information I currently had. I had a better plan. Li Ming, don't rush to call the police just yet. I said, I have a proposal. What proposal? You continue working at the company and help me gather more evidence. In return, once I recover that money, I'll give you 1 million as compensation. Li Ming's eyes lit up. Really, of course. But you have to promise not to let Sage Sun find out. No problem, I promise. After finalizing the contact method with Li Ming, I returned home and immediately inserted the USB drive into my computer. The contents inside left me shocked. Sage Sun not only transferred 300 million, but also funneled the company's funds into shell companies under his name through fake investments. Even worse, he exploited his relationship with Tess Bai to open multiple overseas accounts in her name. This man is more despicable than I imagined. I immediately called Yi Xin and informed her about these situations. Oh my God, this already constitutes commercial fraud, Yi Xin said over the phone. Ray, you need to be careful, people like this are capable of anything. I know, but I can't just let it go, so what are you going to do? I stared at the numbers on the computer screen, a plan already forming in my mind. I'll make sure he understands the consequences of toying with the law. After hanging up the phone, I began to devise a detailed plan. First, I need to make Sage Sun believe everything is under his control. Then, at the moment of his greatest triumph, I'll deliver the fatal blow. I checked Sage Sun's schedule for today in the system. Today's plan: go house hunting with Tess Bai in preparation for their wedding next month. Getting married next month. They really can't wait, can they? I took out my phone and sent a message to the private investigator. Keep following them and take photos of every moment they view the wedding house. Then I sent another message to Li Ming. Help me check if Sage Sun has had any large expenditures recently, especially related to buying a house or wedding preparations. Soon, Li Ming replied, yes. He transferred 5 million to a wedding company yesterday, and another 10 million to buy a villa. It seems Sage Sun is indeed preparing for a lavish wedding with Tess Bai. And he's using the money that was transferred out. That's really great. This gives me more evidence. I turned on my computer and started writing a detailed report. All the transfer records, all the evidence of fake accounts, all the overseas account information. I organized everything clearly. Then I prepared a civil lawsuit, demanding Sage Sun return the illegally transferred marital assets. Everything was ready, so I used the system to check Sage Sun's thoughts again. Current status, very satisfied. Feels all problems are resolved, ready to start a new life with Tess Bai. Is that so? Then let him enjoy a few more days of satisfaction. After he finishes the wedding, I'll give him an unforgettable wedding gift. That night, the private detective sent over the photos. Sage Sun and Tess Bai did go to view the wedding house, a Seaview villa worth 20 million. In the photos, they were holding hands tightly, smiling sweetly. Tess Bai's belly is already showing, making her look like a happy expectant mother. What a loving newlywed couple. I saved the photos and then sent a message to Yi Xin. Prepare the lawsuit documents. I'm going to give them a surprise. The game has entered the next phase. A week later, the wedding of Sage Sun and Tess Bai took place as scheduled. They chose the most luxurious hotel in the city and invited over 300 guests. Of course, I wasn't invited, but that didn't stop me from learning all the details of the wedding. Through the private investigator's footage, I witnessed the entire wedding process. Sage Sun was dressed in a white suit, while Tess Bai wore a wedding gown worth 100,000, her belly noticeably swollen. They exchanged rings amidst the blessings of numerous guests, looking utterly blissful. The wedding venue was extravagantly decorated, reportedly spending $500,000 on flowers alone. What a grand wedding. Unfortunately, this might be the last time they're this happy. The day after the wedding, I went to the city prosecutor's office. Hello, I'd like to report a case of commercial fraud, I said to the reception staff. Could you please provide more details about the situation? I handed him the prepared documents. My ex-husband, Sage Sun, is suspected of transferring marital assets worth up to 300 million. The staff member carefully reviewed the materials I provided, and his expression gradually turned serious. These pieces of evidence are very detailed. We will file a case and investigate. After leaving the prosecutor's office, I went straight to the court to file the civil complaint. On the same day, I also submitted the report materials to the tax authorities and banking regulators. I want Sage Sun to face investigations from all fronts: criminal, civil, tax, and financial. Let's see how he can still live carefree and happy. That afternoon, Li Ming sent me a message, Ms. Jiang. Many law enforcement officers have arrived at the company and are auditing the accounts. President Song has been taken away for questioning. It came even faster than I had imagined. In a rather good mood, I brewed myself a pot of tea and turned on the TV to watch the news. Sure enough, the evening news reported the incident. Renowned local real estate developer Sage Sun is suspected of commercial fraud and has been officially investigated by relevant authorities. The news also showed footage of Sage Sun being taken away, his face pale, completely devoid of the groom's radiance from the day before. I imagined Tess Bai's expression upon seeing this news. It must have been quite a sight. The next day, I received a court summons. Sage Sun had already hired a lawyer to respond to the lawsuit. It seems he still wants to make a final struggle. In the afternoon, I received a call from an unknown number. Miss Jiang, I'm Tess Bai, can we meet? The voice on the phone sounded weary. Of course, I readily agreed. We arranged to meet at a cafe. When Tess Bai arrived, she had completely lost her previous radiant appearance, with red and swollen eyes, clearly having cried. Miss Jiang, was it you who did something to Sage? She asked directly. What thing? I pretended not to know. You know exactly what I'm talking about, Tess Bai said through gritted teeth. You reported him, didn't you? Miss Bai, what do you mean by that? I said innocently. I merely reported the facts I knew to the relevant authorities. Miss Jiang, I beg you, can you withdraw the report? Tess Bai suddenly grabbed my hand. I know Sage wronged you, but he's already paid the price. I looked at her. This woman was truly naive. Miss Bai, do you think this is just a personal grudge? I gently freed my hand from hers. Sage's son is suspected of a crime. It's not something I can just withdraw at will. And why do you think I would help him? I sneered. Did either of you ever consider my feelings when you were sneaking around behind my back? Tess Bai was left speechless by my words. Miss Bai, I suggest you think carefully about your own situation, I said, pointing at her belly. The child is always innocent. Her face turned even paler. What do you mean by that? I mean, Sage's son can't even protect himself right now, and you still expect him to take care of you and the child. He'll be fine, Tess Bai insisted stubbornly. Really? I took out my phone and showed her a news article. The bank has frozen all his accounts, including your joint one. Seeing this news, Tess Bai was completely devastated. Miss Jiang, I know you hate us, but could you please consider the child? I don't hate you, I interrupted her. I'm just taking back what belongs to me. I stood up to leave, but turned back at the door and said, by the way, Miss Bai, if Sage's son is sentenced, your marriage might be in trouble, after all. The marital status of someone serving a sentence can be quite complicated. Looking at Tess Bai's desperate expression, I felt not a shred of guilt in my heart. The pain she's experiencing now is nothing compared to the betrayal I suffered back then. After returning home, I received a call from Yixin. Ray, Sage's son has been formally charged with commercial fraud and illegal asset transfer. What will the verdict be? Based on the amount and circumstances, it's at least 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years, that means their child will be born while Sage's son is still in prison. What a perfect irony. By the way, Yixin continued, the court has frozen all his assets, including that villa and overseas accounts. Your civil lawsuit is almost certain to win. How much can I get back? According to the law, at least 150 million, 150 million, plus the previous 205 million, makes a total of 350 million I can receive. The money is far from enough to compensate for the pain caused by his betrayal, but at least, I made him pay the price he deserved. The news of Sage's son being sued quickly spread throughout the business world. His company's stock price hit rock bottom, multiple partners announced the termination of cooperation, and employees resigned one after another. In just 1 week, Song Real Estate went from being an industry leader to a shell company. Li Ming continued to provide me with insider information as agreed. According to him, after Sage's son was detained, Tess Bai visited him in prison every day, but Sage's son's attitude grew increasingly cold. Boss Song is now shifting all the blame onto Tess Bai, claiming she encouraged him to transfer the assets. Li Ming said over the phone, he's trying to pass the buck. Yes. His lawyer is preparing this defense strategy. Men are indeed the most heartless creatures, shirking responsibility in times of crisis. I recalled Tess Bai's desperate expression and actually felt a twinge of sympathy, but I quickly suppressed that emotion. When she chose to be the other woman, she should have anticipated this outcome. 2 months later, the court held a hearing for Sage's son's case. I appeared in court as the victim to testify. In the courtroom, Sage's son looked much more haggard. Completely devoid of his former vigor, when he saw me, a complex mix of emotions flashed in his eyes. There was anger, helplessness, and also regret, but I wouldn't be swayed by his expression. Ms. Jiang, did the defendant Sage's son conceal these overseas assets from you? The prosecutor asked me. Yes, we've been married for 3 years, and I never knew he had these accounts, I answered truthfully. How do you think these assets should be handled, according to the law? These are all marital assets, and I'm entitled to half. Sage's son's lawyer tried to defend him, saying the money was his personal investment income and not part of the marital assets. But in the face of overwhelming evidence, such defense appears feeble and unconvincing. Court investigations revealed that Sage's son not only transferred marital joint property but also fabricated a large number of financial statements, suspected of multiple crimes. Ultimately, the court ruled that Sage's son was guilty of commercial fraud, sentencing him to 4 years in prison and imposing a fine of 5 million. At the same time, the court upheld my civil lawsuit claim, ordering Sage Sun to return the illegally transferred marital joint property amounting to 180 million, including the compensation he previously gave me. I've received a total of 380 million, from having nothing at the time of marriage to now being worth nearly 400 million. It took me less than half a year. The cost was a failed marriage and the betrayal of a scumbag, but I think it was worth it. After the verdict was announced, I made a special trip to see Tess Bai. She lived in an old, run-down neighborhood, clearly struggling financially. When she saw me, she was hanging up her child's laundry. The child had already been born, a boy who looked very much like Sage Sun. "Miss Jiang, what brings you here?" Tess Bai's tone was cold. "I came to see you," I said. "The child is adorable. Are you here to mock me?" She picked up the child and looked at me warily. "No, I'm here to make you an offer." I took a check out of my bag. 5 million, enough for you and the child to live on for a long time. Tess Bai froze. "Why?" "Because the child is innocent," I said. "And I think you're also a victim of Sage Sun. I don't want your charity." Tess Bai pushed the check back. "This isn't charity, it's compensation," I said. "Compensation for being deceived by a scumbag." Tess Bai looked at the child in her arms, tears welling in her eyes. "Miss Jiang, I know I've wronged you. Let bygones be bygones," I interrupted. "What matters now is the future. It's not easy raising a child alone. This money will help you live more comfortably." After some persuasion, Tess Bai finally accepted the check. "Thank you," she said with a sob. "Don't thank me. Just take good care of the child." After leaving Tess Bai's home, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief in my heart. The revenge is over, and I can start a new life. After Sage Sun was imprisoned, my life completely changed. With over 300 million in funds, I no longer had to worry about making a living. I quit my old job and started doing what I truly enjoyed. First, I invested in opening a coffee shop, right in the downtown business district. The decor is simple and cozy, specializing in premium coffee and handmade desserts. The business is surprisingly good. Often packed to capacity. Yishin said it might be because my story is so legendary that many people come specifically to see me. Indeed, the case involving Sage Sun and me had a significant local impact, and many people are familiar with my experience. Some people pity me, some admire me, and others think I'm too cruel, but I don't care about others' opinions. All I know is that I can finally live according to my own will. One day, while I was busy in the cafe, a young man walked in. He is very handsome, well-dressed, and looks like a successful person. "Excuse me, are you Ms. Ray Jiang?" he asked politely. "Yes, what can I do for you?" "I'm a reporter from Business Weekly, and I'd like to interview you about your views on the Sage Sun case." I shook my head. "Sorry, I don't give interviews." "Ms. Jiang, your story is truly inspiring and could motivate many women." I said I don't give interviews. My tone turned stern. "Please leave," seeing my firm stance. The reporter had no choice but to leave, but since then, journalists have frequently approached me, wanting to dig up more inside stories. I turned them all down. I don't want to be held hostage by that experience anymore. I need to move forward. Besides the cafe, I've also invested in other projects. One is a legal aid center specifically designed to assist divorced women, offering free legal consultation services. Another is a skills training center for single mothers, helping them acquire professional skills and achieve financial independence. These projects are not for profit but purely aimed at helping those in need, because I know there are many women like me who need support and assistance. Yishin often says I've changed, that I've become more compassionate. "The old you was kind, but always misdirected that kindness," she said. "Now you've truly learned how to love others." Indeed, after experiencing betrayal and revenge, I've gained a new understanding of love. True love isn't about blind giving and tolerance, but about principled care and support. I won't compromise myself for so-called love like I used to, but I will use my abilities to help those who truly need assistance. One day, Tess Bai came to my cafe with her child, Miss Jiang. "I came to thank you," she said. "Over the past 6 months, she used the money I gave her to open a small shop specializing in baby products. The business is doing quite well, enough to support her and the child. The child is growing so fast, I said, watching the little boy who was already crawling and very lively. Yes. He's very healthy, Tesbai said with a smile on her face. Miss Jiang, I want to apologize to you. Apologize for what I did before, she said earnestly. I know I hurt you. And though it's too late now, I still want to say I'm sorry. I looked at her. This woman had matured a lot compared to before. Tesbai, what's past is past, I said. What matters now is living well. I will, she nodded. I also hope you can be happy. After they left, I stood by the cafe window, watching the bustling traffic outside. A year ago, I was still that foolish woman who would give up everything for love. A year later, I became a successful woman with nearly 400 million in assets. This transformation is something even I find incredible. Yishin said I should write a book to document this experience. Perhaps I will write it someday, but for now, I just want to fully enjoy this hard-won freedom. In the evening, I received an unexpected phone call. It was from a prison official, Ms. Jiang. Sage Sun has suffered a sudden heart attack in prison and is now undergoing emergency treatment at the hospital. He wishes to see you. I remained silent for a long time. Does Sage Sun want to see me? This man, who betrayed me, hurt me, and made me fall from heaven into hell, now wants to see me. Ms. Jiang, will you come? The voice on the phone urged. I took a deep breath. I'll be right there. Outside the hospital's ICU, I saw Sage Sun lying on the sickbed. He had lost a lot of weight, his face sallow, completely devoid of his former vigor. Seeing me enter, he turned his head with difficulty. Ray Jiang, you're here. His voice was very weak. I sat down by the bed without speaking. Ray Jiang, I know I've wronged you, he spoke with difficulty. I want to apologize to you. What's the point of saying this now? I asked calmly. I know it's meaningless, but I have to say it. He coughed a few times. For the past year, I've been thinking about our past every single day. What have you been thinking about? How foolish I was. Sage Sun closed his eyes. Ray Jiang, do you know, in the past year, Tesbai has only visited me 3 times. I'm not surprised. When a man has money and power, women flock to him. Once he falls from grace, he's abandoned. And you, he looked at me, you could have just let me die in there. But you still came. I didn't come because I still love you, I said. I just wanted to see what the man who once made me suffer unbearably has become. Sage Sun smiled bitterly. I've become a useless man. This is the path you chose for yourself. I know, he nodded. Ray Jiang, if time could be reversed, I would never betray you. But there are no ifs. We remained silent for a long time. Finally, Sage Sun said, Ray Jiang, I have a request. What request? I have another account overseas with 50 million in it, he said with difficulty. I want to give this money to you. Why? Consider it my final compensation. He took out a piece of paper from under the pillow. Here's the account information. Take it. I stared at the piece of paper with the account number and password written on it. Sage Sun, do you think money can solve everything? No, he shook his head, but aside from money, I have nothing else to give you. I took the paper, stood up, and prepared to leave. Ray Jiang, he called out to me, will you forgive me? I turned to look at him. Sage Sun, I won't forgive you, but I won't hate you anymore either. Why? Because hating someone is too exhausting, I said. I want to spend my time and energy on more meaningful things. With that, I left the hospital without looking back. As I walked out of the hospital gates, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. The man who had once hurt me so deeply could no longer affect my emotions. I had truly let go. The next day, I received the news that Sage Sun had passed away peacefully that evening. I didn't attend his funeral, but I sent a bouquet of white flowers to him, not out of love, but for the beautiful memories that had once truly existed. Yishin asked me how I felt, and I said I had no particular feelings. A person who once hurt me has died, and I feel neither happy nor sad. It's like a leaf falling by the roadside. It has nothing to do with me. Using the account information Sage Sun gave me, I obtained another 50 million. Adding this to the previous 380 million, my total assets have now reached 430 million. From having nothing to a net worth of over 400 million, it took me less than 2 years. The cost was a failed marriage and a once broken heart, but I think it was all worth it, because the person I am now is far stronger than the person I was before. I know how to protect myself, how to love others, and how to live the life I want. A month after Sage Sun's death, Tess Bai came to see me again. Miss Jiang, Sage left a letter for me to pass on to you. She handed me an envelope. I opened the envelope, and inside was a handwritten letter from Sage Sun, Ray Jiang. By the time you read this letter, I may no longer be here. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I still want to tell you that meeting you was the luckiest thing in my life, and losing you is my deepest regret. I hope you can forget the pain I caused you and remember the beautiful moments we once shared. May you find happiness and joy in the rest of your life. After reading the letter, I tore it into pieces and threw it in the trash. Some people, some things, are destined to become the past. I won't change my opinion of him just because of a letter, but I won't waste another second on this past relationship either. I have more important things to do. 5 years later, I've opened 8 branches of my cafe. The Legal Aid Center has helped thousands of women, and the Skills Training Center has produced hundreds of outstanding graduates. My net worth has also grown from over 400 million to 1.2 billion. But more importantly, I've found true happiness, the kind of happiness that doesn't depend on anyone else, but is entirely my own. Today is my 33rd birthday. Yixin organized a small birthday party for me, attended by friends I've met over the years. There were women I've helped, business partners I've collaborated with, and some like-minded friends. Ray, make a wish. Yixin lit the candles on the birthday cake. I closed my eyes and made a wish. I hope all women who have experienced betrayal and hurt can stand up again like I did and live their own wonderful lives. After blowing out the candles, everyone started chatting. Someone asked me if I would get married again. Maybe, I said with a smile, if I meet the right person. What kind of person would be the right one? I thought for a moment. Honest, kind, and responsible. Most importantly, someone who can respect and understand me. Anything else? Let's do meaningful things together. I said, I don't need him to be rich or handsome. As long as we can support each other and grow together, that's enough. Yixin nodded beside me. Ray has really matured a lot now. Indeed, the person I am now is completely different from who I was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I valued love more than life itself and was willing to give up everything for a man. Now I understand that true love should be equal and mutually fulfilling. If a relationship requires me to compromise myself or abandon my identity to sustain it, then such a relationship isn't worth keeping. After the gathering ended, I stood alone on the cafe balcony, gazing at the city under the night sky. Neon lights flickered, and streams of cars flowed endlessly. The city remained as vibrant and bustling as ever, and I am no longer that foolish woman who could blindly sacrifice everything for love. I am Ray Jiang, an independent woman, a successful businessperson, and a philanthropist who enjoys helping others. I have my own career, my own friends, and my own aspirations. I don't need to rely on anyone to live well. This feeling is truly amazing. The phone rang, displaying an unfamiliar number. May I speak to Ms. Ray Jiang, please? Yes, this is she. Who's calling? I am Lawyer Chen, representing a gentleman who wishes to remain anonymous. He would like to donate 10 million to your legal aid center. 10 million. May I ask why this gentleman wants to make this donation? I inquired curiously. He said he deeply admires your experiences and spirit, and hopes to support you in helping more women. That's wonderful. On behalf of all the women in need, I thank him. After hanging up the phone, I felt really good. With this 10 million, I can help even more people. This brings me more joy than any amount of money I could earn for myself. After returning home, I turned on my computer and began planning the expansion of the Legal Aid Center. Now, I am fully prepared to face any challenge, because I know nothing can truly bring me down.